Welcome back to the Maximum Edge Sports Wagering Show. My name is John Santucci. Call me Tooch. It is Saturday, December 18th, 2021, and we got college football bowl action starting today and one Saturday football game, too. We're going to break it all down for you, and I got G-Dog with me to help out. Greg, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Saturday. Happy bowl season. We are going to break down 6 college football games. Wow. A lot of college footballs. Real quick, run through them. And one Saturday night football, Colts and Patriots. Let's, what do you say we get started?
Sure.
All right. We have got some, the Boca Raton Bowl, roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. That is Western Kentucky getting 2.5 versus Appalachian State minus 2.5. Over under of 66.5. Appalachian State, all defense. Western Kentucky, all offense. Which side are we on today, you thinking?
This one's tough. I mean, it's kind of like last night. I mean, Northern Illinois had like a worse record than the Chanticleers, but I mean, they just a shootout, man. I mean, that was like crazy, like how,
yeah.
And it's just like, I mean,
90 points yesterday in that game.
Right. I think Appalachian State is definitely capable. I mean, I've been on them a few times this year where they just laid an egg. And then Western Kentucky's, I mean, they're 8-5. So, I mean, it's kind of like they're hit and miss in a sense. I mean, even though they do have a top rated offense, Appalachian State is all about defense. So I think, Western Kentucky lost to UTSA and San Antonio in the conference title. But that was a shootout too. There was 90 points in that game. So Appalachian State is second nationally with 109 tackles for a loss. So Western Kentucky, obviously, quarterback gets the ball out quick and stuff. So it's going to be a challenge for him. But I think I like the under in this game. I'm not so much sure on the side because it's kind of like last night. It was like a shootout until the end, and whoever had the ball last was going to win. But Northern Illinois obviously had some issues executing down the stretch. But otherwise, they had a perfectly legit shot to win that game.
Right. I was on Northern Illinois. Give me 12 points in a bowl game. The other mistake I made was taking Toledo minus 10.5 when I was like, and then I was like, what am I doing? I got to, bowl games.
Tennessee sucks, though. I mean, that's the thing, though. It's like you don't know. So you have to weigh other factors and kind of like their motivation.
Right.
I mean, obviously.
And they were missing their starting quarterback. They went they rotated the 2 backup quarterbacks during the game.
Yeah.
So, on paper, Toledo was a better team. Were they 10.5 points better? No. But, I mean, in these bowl games are tighter, like especially in the next game we'll talk about, it's a double-digit spread. But
I kind of like Appalachian State, too, on the side. They're 6-0 all-time in bowls, and Western Kentucky's 4-3 in bowls. Appalachian State's defeated 4 bowl-bound teams, Coastal Carolina, East Carolina, Georgia State, and Marshall this season. So, I mean, they've had a good season. I mean, they've been a top program. So, who knows? Western Kentucky might be mad about their Conference USA title chances floundering and they're able to rally and close out on a positive note, or they're deflated from that defeat.
Right. It's a stay away for me. I can't find an edge. Normally I lean getting points in bowl games, taking points, but Appalachian State's defense, pretty darn good. And like you said, 6-0 in bowl games. They've beaten some darn good teams. Western Kentucky has not played the level of competition. Like I said, UT San Antonio is the best team they played. And then 66.5 points, man, that's a lot. To me, it's a stay away. But if I were to play it, I'm leaning Appalachian State.
Yeah, I like Appalachian State.
Yeah, minus 2.5. Let's head over to the PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl, where UTEP is playing Fresno State, the Miners versus the Bulldogs, over under a 52. Fresno State, clearly the superior team, played a lot tougher competition. UTEP, I struggle to find a reason to take UTEP plus all those points, but that's normally the way I lean. But Fresno State, just a really good team. Your thoughts?
I don't really have a plan. I mean, like Fresno State's been good, and then they lay eggs also.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I've been on them a few times this season where it's like, all my numbers, everything points to them should win easily. Next thing you know, they're losing. It's like, I mean, they're 9-3 on the season. It's a pretty good season. Probably the 3 games is 1 or 2 that I bet on or whatever. But it's like, it's just kind of, I don't know. They had Fresno State. I was just looking at some of the stuff here, and I was talking as their head coach and offensive coordinator left for other jobs. And then they also had its senior starting quarterback enter the transfer portal. Then he thought better of the move once Jeff Tedford was hired as the Bulldogs' next coach. Now, Tedford used to run at California,
right,
Berkeley. So
he's gone now, Fresno.
Well, Tedford is actually he's not going to coach the Bulldogs in this game. So the interim coach is Lee Marks. Let's see.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like one of those things too. It's like, hey, the coach is left, do I give a shit? It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, what's the motivation? And like that. Those are the hardest things with these bowl games. You have to always consider these types of situations. UTEP 7-5 this season, highest win total since the 2014 season. It's their first bowl game since 2014.
Yeah.
So, to lay 11 with Fresno State, I mean, I think maybe 10 might be good, but I think UTEP is more than capable of hanging with them here. So
fits with my profile too of taking double-digit numbers in bowl games. Both these teams top 35 defenses. The advantage of Fresno State for number 14 overall offense and UTEP number 71 overall offense. So slight edge to Fresno. On 65% of the bets are on Fresno, 75% of the money on Fresno. Over under 52 sitting there. Any thoughts on the total and any thoughts on the money, where the money is moving?
This line open at 14.5 has gotten bet down to 11. That's that.
People on UTEP plus all the points.
Well, that's the thing. Like the line moved from 14.5 down to 11 was 61% of the tickets on Fresno. So that right there, obviously, you can tell the line's moving towards UTEP, but that line should have moved up versus down if you're looking at how many tickets are on that thing. That's usually what you look at. Like if you look at the total, it opened at 51.5 and now it's 52, but you have 69% of the tickets, so that would justify that line moving that direction. But the fact that the total's moving in UTEP's favor is just kind of more suspicion on that one. But
so you lean Fresno State then, right?
Well, I'd actually lean UTEP on this case.
Okay.
Because they have anytime too you have less tickets than money, but you have more than 50% of the money with less tickets, that's a good indicator that's the team, the side that's probably the right side to bet on. That is, the right side is the team that wins and covers.
Right.
But in terms of the
more time, explain it to me again and for the audience, the tickets and money.
So if there's less tickets on a game but more money, that's usually an indicator of that side, especially if it's less than 50% of the tickets, but more than 50% of the money is on that particular side, then that means that the pros are on that side.
Okay. Got it.
Usually
so you get that knowledge here on Maximum Edge Sports. All right. So if you were picking a side,
I would
take UTEP plus double digits.
14 down to 11, but there's no key numbers in there.
Right.
And 10 is the next key number. So you have 14 and open at 14.5.
Which would have been great to grab it there.
Down to 11. So, you can get beat by 2 touchdowns, but if you think they're going to keep it within a touchdown and a field goal, then obviously 11.5 is adequate. You can go down to, 10.5, obviously, and still be good.
Yep.
So it falls in between there, that as the favorite, 11.5. I mean, who cares? They're going to either win by.
Got to be 2 touchdowns
14, so.
Yep.
there's definitely value on UTEP here as well. So I'd look on that side of it. Total, I don't really know. I don't have an edge either way, an indicator. I mean, other than looking at the majority of the tickets once again, but the totals isn't as pronounced as the sides when you have the line movement and stuff. So, but I mean, the unders 31% of the tickets, 82% of the money. But I don't know how accurate this is because the totals numbers aren't nearly as accurate as the sides.
Right.
Case. And then
the trends kind of favor the over. Over 5-1 in Fresno's last 6 games on grass, and its last 7, 6-1 versus a team with a winning record.
Wearing UTEP on the road. I mean, it's like the trends are stupid.
You're not a trends guy.
Trends
I know that.
Are really, really stupid.
Yep.
They have nothing to do with this particular team in this particular situation. Doesn't matter how many other times. It's like flipping a coin. It's like how many times you're going to get heads or tails. It's just random. It's just like every trend out there practically is random. Coaches, players change.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
For this game, man, I don't see a good edge.
The only thing is with the weather in this one, I mean, it's in the 40s. I mean, it's a clear day. It's a nice day, but I mean, it's only brisk fall weather. Fresno State being a California team.
In Albuquerque.
And having the turmoil with the coaches and, going to elevation at UTEP. So,
yep.
I think UTEP's the play in this particular one.
All right, you heard it here. Leaning UTEP plus 11.5. That's the way I lean too with double-digit spreads. Let's take a look at the next game, which is University of Alabama Birmingham versus Brigham Young, the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. So the Independence Bowl, UAB getting 6.5 points. I know you and I talked about this before game. You're on the UAB side. I'm kind of on the BYU side, over under 55. BYU just played a tougher schedule. I know UAB very good against the spread, though. They're a covering team. BYU, I just think, they get the better athletes and bigger, faster players and have played some tougher competition than UAB. Any thoughts? UAB Brigham Young, 8-4 versus 10-2 teams.
Well, UAB is playing in the bowl game for just the 5th time, but it's their 4th appearance in Bill Clark's 6 seasons. So, BYU is definitely their toughest opponent. But I mean, it's, this is a program that didn't they like a few years ago, they canceled the football program.
Yep.
And then they brought it back. So, I mean, they're definitely a little bit wired a little bit differently, I think, in terms of, after 2014, they disbanded the program the following season. So, people were pissed off and they reinstated for 2017 season. So it's been 4 seasons and they've been to bowl games constantly. So, they only have 1 bowl win in 2018, but, and then they lost 2 games this season to ranked teams. I mean, they played Georgia and then UTSA. So, I mean, that's, obviously, but, it would be really a good program win for UAB, and I definitely think they can keep it within the touchdown.
Yep. They played Georgia this year. So I don't see that, but maybe it was way early in the season, right?
Yeah.
BYU has played some tough teams. They won at USC.
Well, they're 5-0 against the Pac-12 this season.
For BYU. Yeah, Pac-12 having kind of a down year this season, though.
Still a Power 5 conference, so that's the thing.
Their only losses came Baylor. No shame there. Baylor, pretty damn good team. They lost 24-38. Boise State, in-state rivalry, they lost that. The game was close, though. And then, like I said, they've played some good teams.
They have a good quarterback, UAB, also a very strong running game.
Yep.
Dwayne McBride racked up 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. So
it wouldn't surprise me if this game was closer than the numbers indicate.
It's the first meeting also. So that's definitely and UAB is hasn't played the competition like you said. I mean, they trying to
Yeah.
beat Georgia. UTSA, even though they're ranked, I mean, it's like that's their level of competition, I suppose. But
Yeah, for sure.
But you look at the Pac-12 and BYU beating certain teams in the Pac-12. It's not really that significant in some cases. I mean, it's just not.
Right.
I mean, like you said, they had a down year.
Down year this year.
USC's had down year for several years, and so other the programs. So it doesn't surprise me that they beat up. I mean, like Cal sucks and Stanford sucks, and just Washington State were terrible this year. It's just they have. I don't know what their 5 wins were, but definitely.
Any thoughts on the total sitting at 55? I kind of like the over here. I think this both teams could score.
Yeah, 55.5. I mean, tickets are evenly split. Money's a little bit more leaned on the under. This is another case with UAB open at 9 and is now down to 6.5. 30% of the tickets, 76% of the money is on UAB. So
the side would be UAB.
Yeah, the side's definitely UAB. In terms of injuries go, nothing to report really. There's no pro prospects or anybody sitting out. Weather-wise, we're in Boca Raton. It's supposed to rain. That's a factor. So they both have strong running games, so that could factor into the total. Obviously, wind is 13 miles an hour, so that definitely would skew me to the under.
It's the under, yeah. You heard it here.
High wind.
Looking at the under.
Definitely that's a big number in my opinion for the total. But the side play is definitely UAB.
All right, you heard it here. Let's move on to the next one. We got Eastern Michigan, the Eagles taking on Liberty. That is the Lending Tree Bowl. Eastern Michigan getting 9.5 points and a total of 58. I know you're on Liberty. Can you tell us a little bit why we're on Liberty today? There's both teams 7-5. I know Eastern Michigan, man, I don't think quite the quality of Liberty.
No, definitely not. Just reading up on. Let's see. Josh Mack, running backs, out for personal reasons today for Liberty. What that means. Let's see. Because it's personal. Let's see.
Is that the starting quarterback out?
Running back.
Oh, starting running back. Okay. I do not show that on mine, but.
All right. So Malik Willis and Liberty is going to be one of the probably first round quarterbacks in this year's draft. So he's 2,600 yards passing, 24 TDs, 820 yards running, 11 touchdowns. I mean, they're capable of putting up a ton of points. Eastern Michigan, third bowl appearance in 4 seasons. They haven't had, the same success Liberty's had. Liberty's won 3 in a row. But the Eagles have also played their games tough. Just, Hugh Freeze had a big year last year. This year is obviously a disappointment. I definitely like Liberty in this game. They're kind of like a Coastal Carolina, where it's like they're fun to watch. They, the recognition, people start to hear about them, know a little bit about them. Obviously the star quarterback, he's got a lot to prove. Could be a good game for make a point and blowing them out, or maybe a shootout in some cases. Because Eastern Michigan definitely can put up some points from the MAC. So,
the Liberty number 11 offense in the country. Not too bad on defense number 11 too bad on defense also for Liberty. So man, all the numbers point to Liberty for me. 9.5. You're under that key number of 10. In Eastern Michigan, man, like you said, I don't think they played the level of competition that Liberty has. If you look at back, it's all all MAC teams, of course. Yeah. Outside of their division, I mean, they played UMass and Texas State, and that's it, really. Liberty has played, Army, Louisiana, Lafayette, Mississippi. They had a common opponent with Massachusetts. Both teams beat
UMass is
Massachusetts.
horrible.
UMass is bad. That's right.
Horrible.
And Liberty also played UAB, where they won 36-12. So, man, I'm all over Liberty on this one, -9.5.
Yeah, I think from somebody just taking a look at they have equal records and stuff. That's level of competition, the quarterback play, obviously, defense. I do expect a lot of points in this though, so I definitely like the over.
Also like the over, and that brings us to, let's head over to the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, presented by Stifel.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's what it's called. Utah State versus Oregon State. The Beavers laying 7 versus the Aggies. What are you thinking here? It's a high total, 67.5, man.
Yeah, they're both capable of obviously a ton of points.
I know you're on the Oregon State side. I'm on the Utah State side, but let's hear some reasons here. Oregon State, I don't think has much defense, although neither does Utah State. So, like, the over would be a good lean, man.
Yeah, Utah State's definitely got the offense capabilities to put up points. I mean, they've also, I mean, they're 10-3, but they haven't. There's a bunch of games I remember this season they didn't cover. What's their spread record?
Utah State versus the spread is 9-4 against the spread.
Okay.
Oregon State 7-5. Both these teams kind of even on the over and the under. Utah State has an away record of 7-0 on the road. Oregon State 1-5 on the road. Oregon State was darn good at home. In Corvallis, they are 6-0 at home. Of course, this game, SoFi Stadium in LA.
Yeah,
I like the touchdown. Spot me a touchdown, Utah State, and see what happens. But it's a game I'm probably.
Well, it's again where you have the level of competition. The Pac-12.
Yep.
The Pac-12. Like I remember, I went to school at Long Beach State, and I remember I think it was the Iowa Hawkeyes were playing at the in the Rose Bowl that year, and just the size of these players, dude. I mean, it's just like the difference in talent and size of some of these guys is so much different at even a crappy Pac-12 school, which Oregon State had a pretty decent year, but I mean, it's like even like those types of teams versus the best player, they outsize them, overmatch them and stuff. So I mean, that's why I think Oregon State obviously is going to have to figure out a way to slow down the Utah State offense.
Yep.
And their top defender Avery Roberts is out after having surgery. He's obviously going to be in the NFL next year, most likely. Their linebacker. They're in the first, but here's the motivation again for Oregon State. That's like they're in a bowl game for the first time since 2013, and Utah State just won the Mountain West. So, I mean, did they achieve their goal of the season and they're satisfied?
Yeah.
Or, Oregon State, on the other hand, they haven't played in a bowl since 2013. Last time they had a winning record as well. So, they could be more definitely motivated.
I like the narrative there. Definitely.
Sometimes the numbers and everything else, like, I've been betting on football for 25, 30 years, and it's like bowl season is always about matchups and it's always about motivation. Doesn't matter what their record is, what their record against the spread is, what the trends are, whatever the case is. It's like you have to look at motivation, and it makes it more complicated too nowadays because of all the players that sit out because of their NFL prospects, and you can't blame them. Like if you're going to be even a top 6 round pick in the NFL and you have a chance, or you're undrafted and you have a chance to make it to the pros, what's the point or what's the benefit of risking an injury, career-ending injury, perhaps?
Yes.
in a meaningless
That's huge. Yep,
So
that's huge. A lot of players sitting out.
there's been a lot of that. I mean, Larry Fournette was kind of started that trend, I think, or maybe
Yeah.
I don't know, but I specifically remember him definitely sitting down for that season or whatever, the season's bowl game, because they're essentially with 42 bowl games. You have 115 Division I teams, 105 or 110 now, I don't remember, but 84 of them make it to a bowl game.
Yeah.
Hawaii's playing in the Hawaii Bowl, and they're like 5-7.
Yeah.
So it's like there's since you have the playoff and stuff as well, these other bowls don't have nearly the meaning that they used to have. It used to be a big deal to go to the Cotton Bowl, or a big deal to go to this bowl and that bowl.
The Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl.
And some programs definitely still feel that way, obviously, and they play that way. But a lot, you get the Jimmy Kimmel Bill. I mean, Christ's sake, it's like, hey, we got one more game, and it's like, Oregon, LA, Pac-12, definitely first, like I said, first bowl since 2013. I think they're definitely more motivated in this case. I mean, like I said, the Utah State could have a letdown. And it's just, they
good reason. And the total, you like the over.
It's just a far better program overall.
Yep.
Utah State's been decent. I mean, they're terrible last year. They're 1-5 last year in COVID shortened season, so nobody expected them to be what they did this season. And I definitely had San Diego State in that game. I didn't expect Utah State to smack them like they did.
Right.
That was kind of like their Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah, could be a letdown here in spot. But how about the total? I know you're leaning over right here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of points to be scored here. They each average more than 30 points a game.
All right. You heard it here. Let's move on to the next bowl game. That is the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, where the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette are taking on the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Louisiana Lafayette laying 4 points, over under a 55.5. That's been steamed up from the open at 51.5. Let's talk about that total first. The money movement up there, is it any value left in the over?
I still like the over. I still like the over in this game. They both are capable of putting up a ton of points.
Yeah, for sure. How about the side? Marshall getting 4 points. Marshall, pretty good team. At Louisiana Lafayette, you can't argue with that record, 12-1, and 5-1 on the road.
Yeah.
Against the spread, though, not exactly. I mean, neither of these teams great against the spread. Louisiana Lafayette was 6-7, and Marshall 6-6. Both of these teams kind of trend towards the under. What are you thinking for the side here? You like the Cajuns or the Thundering Herd?
Not on any particular side. I think this is another game like the motivation. Obviously, Louisiana just won the Sun Belt.
Yep.
Like their big thing. They beat Appalachian State. And then Marshall was in the Conference USA. They finished second. They're actually going to be joining the Sun Belt here in a couple of years. So Louisiana's won 12 consecutive games since losing their season opener at Texas.
Right, Texas, right. I remember that. A lot of people liked them to cover the spread in that one or win outright. And then rattle off 12 straight victories. If you had to pick a side, would you lean Cajuns?
I would lean Cajuns. The thing is, too, that's another coaching situation. Napier's going to Florida, so it's when the guy that got you there and the head coach, and he's the one that recruited you, and he's the one that got you to the promised land and these Sun Belt titles, and you just topped off the game, and then find out that he's taking a job at another school. It really deflating. It's deflating, really
exactly.
Players. So again, another situation when it comes to motivation. So
there you go. The narrative
on Marshall's side, I'm not that familiar with Marshall. It's just they've had an up and down season, and I obviously know about them, pay attention to them, bet on them probably, but it's kind of Marshall's lost 2 of its last 3 games. They got the crap beat out of them by Western Kentucky, 53-21. So I mean, they do have point to prove, obviously, with an opportunity to kind of finish strong. Whereas the Cajuns are already the conference champions, and they're already got their thing. And like I said, their coach is leaving. That's why the 4 points is you get a 12-1 team with a top ranked offense versus a 7-5 team with a 4-point spread.
Right,
something's up.
Not enough much of an edge. Defensively. They're both okay defensively, but Marshall a top 10 offense, like you said.
Oh yeah, they're ranked 4th nationally with 35 rushing TDs. They're 10th in total offense, 12th in passing offense.
Yeah,
they have a good defense as well. I like the total in this one as well, going over.
All right, you heard it here. The total's the better play. I mean,
as far as the side goes, I don't really know, because again, it comes down to me for motivation.
The motivation, right? We don't know the motivation of the Raging Cajuns. They just lost their coach. It could be a Marshall, getting spot 4 points. Could be Marshall takes that more motivated position and maybe wins outright or at least covers. What do you say we talk a little NFL? We got the Patriots and the Colts. Patriots going to Indianapolis, and the Colts are a 2.5-point favorite, over under of 45.5. I know you're on the under here. Two pretty good darn defenses, 45.5. That game, that spread opened. Let's see, opened at 44, and now it's at 45. Not a ton of movement. Opening line was -1.5 Colts. Now it's -2.5. Where are you leaning on the side? I know you're leaning under.
Well, I think the line opened at 5.5, and it's down to 2.
Okay, I've got 1.5, but
well, that's probably the preseason line was the 5.5. So that's where that usually comes from.
The
Pats suck, but yeah,
the money pretty evenly split, between these teams. The bets and money. What do you think? Are the sharps on the Colts?
I see 45% of the tickets on the Colts and 65% of the money actually
on the Colts.
Tickets are split evenly, but not the money.
Yeah. Okay.
But the Colts definitely, again, it's like the tickets usually move the line, so that's why you see like that. Well, this line that I'm looking at is obviously not the week line; it's the early season line. So
you're leaning Colts.
I like the Colts today in that spot.
Colts is slightly better offense.
It's two teams of running games, and you got Damian Harris is out for the Patriots.
Yep,
a thigh injury or hamstring, I think it is. So
Brandon Bolden also questionable, the other running back.
Yeah, and so you're going to have to rely on Mac Jones, and Mac Jones hasn't been as good on the road as he has been at home, obviously.
Right.
So, it's going to be a heck of a game. I think I'm looking forward to watching it for sure, because I always love the Colts Patriots. But the Colts, again, in their big games, they haven't performed well. I mean, you had Tennessee thrashed them, but then they turn around and thrash, other teams.
Yeah.
With the runnings. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is definitely a major factor in this particular game for me. I definitely like that. Carson Wentz has been playing much better, obviously.
Yeah, you've got edge at running back, edge at quarterback. Coaching, though, I'm sorry, coaching a little bit better on the Patriots side. Frank Reich, man, sometimes the decisions he makes can cost his team. One other edge that I see in this game is recent games, red zone defense. Patriots at the top of the league, red zone defense. Colts recently bottom of the league red zone defense, so that's a big factor when these teams drive down. They're both run teams. Which team is able to punch it into the end zone easier than the other? You got to give that edge to the Patriots. This number is really sharp, man.
It should be a good old fashioned, smash football game.
Whoever has the ball last, I think, is going to win this game. It could come down to a field goal, in which case you want to be probably on the. You
got to keep in mind that Mac Jones is still a rookie.
Yeah,
so he's been playing very well, but he's definitely doesn't play as well on the road. And there's definitely, he's one of the most polished rookies, obviously, with his experience at Alabama and his
Right.
seasons. He's used to the big stage and obviously does well, but he's very mentally aware. But then you have Colts defense is starting to get into form finally.
Mm-hmm. So let's take a look at the run defenses of both these teams. The Patriots number 2 in the NFL versus the run. Very tough to run on. They haven't played the Colts offensive line or Jonathan Taylor yet, so still a little bit of advantage. And the Indianapolis defense number 16 against the run, so slight edge to New England. Of course, they are without their top running back. They'll be probably going with Ramondre Stevenson, a 6th-round rookie. And J.J. Taylor's Brandon Bolden is also questionable, I think. Let's see how he's another one of there. He's questionable. He might suit up. And then injuries, the
Patriots injury report's tough to gauge.
It is long, man.
Roster on,
and it ain't always the truth, right? With Belichick. No. So
and unless they're ruled out, there's a very good chance that they can play. But I mean,
Mac Jones is on the injury report with a thumb injury.
You look at they lost James White, at the beginning of the season, early in the season.
Big part of their offense.
Harris is now a big part of their offense. Now he's out. So, that's a big part of who they are because they need that to free up the passing game for Jones.
Yeah.
But
it's tough to pick a side. Do you think the total's a better play here?
I'm leaning under, and I definitely like the Colts in the spot. 2.5 at home is a field goal. I think that's easily
less than a field goal, right? We're below that key number.
Yeah. I like the Colts in the spot.
I'm kind of leaning that way too. You've got a rookie quarterback on the Patriots. You've got advantage coaching, but man, the Colts, they are pretty tough at home.
They've been playing well lately too, so I think they have. And they're kind of one of those bubble teams, which now Buffalo is at 7-6. So I mean,
New England's road record is 6-0, so they don't really have a problem going into other places and winning. But
who have they played on the road?
Right, they haven't played a team of the competition of Indianapolis.
Other than Buffalo.
Right, other than Buffalo, they went in and beat them 14-10. Where they in a monsoon snowstorm, whatever. Right, 24 points scored that one.
Yeah.
On the road, they went into Atlanta, beat them 25-0. Went into Carolina, beat them 24-6.
Carolina
went out, beat the Chargers 27-24 in L.A.
Yeah,
they were on the road at Houston, won 25-22. And then they've beaten some quality teams like the Patriots, the Cowboys, the Browns. They blew out 45-7, and the Titans.
Yeah.
So pretty good competition. The Colts, if you're looking at teams, they lost to the Buccaneers, 31-38. They blew out Buffalo in Buffalo. The Colts 41-15. Remember that one?
Yeah, all over them. Yeah.
Yep. At San Francisco, they went in. The Colts won 30-18. At Baltimore, they lost in overtime, 25-31.
You don't have to go through the whole season of 13 teams. Like whatever.
Just looking for some common level of competition. You're on the under. I like the under too as well. I think this will be a good defensive game. 2 top defenses. And you like the Colts. What do you say we give away a free play?
Sounds good, man.
All right, here we go. All right, free play. Eastern Michigan Liberty over 57.5. I like this play. Both these teams can put up points. Liberty, we know, is going to one thing about this game, I could see this game being like 40-10. Liberty blown out if Eastern Michigan can't score on Liberty's defense. But it's a bowl game. These teams hopefully put up over 57.5. I could see that easily getting to that number. G-Dog, we thank you again for being here. Good luck today. And we'll see you. I think you're back here Monday.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. All right, brother. for Higgs or Matt Peralta. All right, brother. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later.
All right, sounds good, man.
Thanks.
And I'm the team captain. He's the preview, and I'm the main attraction. Unstoppable, unconquerable, on top of the world, accomplishing the impossible. Unstoppable, unconquerable, on top of the world, accomplishing the impossible. Invincible hustle, mighty desire to conspire, to transpire, to